You've been lied to. For years, businesses have been told in order to grow on YouTube and turn viewers into customers, they need to follow a very specific playbook. That optimizing titles, adding keywords, and playing the algorithm will bring them views, leads, and customers. And most importantly, that SEO is the key to growing a successful business YouTube channel. But what if I told you it's all a big lie? Because while companies are busy chasing keywords, the channels that actually win on YouTube play an entirely different game, one that no SEO tool can teach you. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on the biggest YouTube myth in business and showing you how to really win on YouTube. This is the ultimate guide to YouTube SEO and browse success. How to rank your videos, because you have been lied to. There's so many YouTube gurus out there talking about how to make your business YouTube channel successful. And most of the advice out there is probably in some sense outdated, especially if they've been talking about how to rank on YouTube, how to optimize your titles so you rank exactly for the keywords that you're trying to rank for, how to put these right tags into your description, and so on. There's a much more intelligent way to blow up your business YouTube channel. And YouTube SEO is way less important than you think. Now, let's zoom out for a second. You have two different ways to get big on YouTube in general. The first one is the search-based way. So someone enters a query on YouTube and they get some kind of suggested relevant content, right? The second one is, if you haven't been living under a rock or something similar, you might have noticed if you open the YouTube app or you open the YouTube website on your laptop, that something shows up there, right? There's different videos that get suggested to you. And that's the second way. It's the browse way. Now let's zoom into the search-based way. Supposedly, this serves the intent. And it kind of makes sense at first glance, right? Someone types something in. For example, how to rank on YouTube. Now, probably you will have lower view numbers, right? Because these videos are not optimized to grow crazy viral and get Mr. Beast-like figures. No, they are probably going to grow slowly and steadily because, you know, every other week someone searches for how to rank on YouTube. So, okay, so far so good. Also, supposedly these kind of videos have high intent, right? Because people are searching for something. They have a concrete problem. They want it solved right now. And the theory is that someone who searches this can immediately turn into a customer because they searched for exactly this. You are offering the solution. Great. You just found yourself another high-ticket client for your business. Amazing, all right? Now, obviously, you need to master the keyword selection for the title and whatever for the description, right? You need to put the right keywords in there. But, you know, that's where the narrative kind of is already crumbling, right? It's starting to crumble because let me tell you one thing. If you make a video about Barbie, okay, you talk about how amazing Barbie is and how she cooks the greatest food, but your video is titled Oppenheimer and the description is about Oppenheimer, and you put a couple of tags that are saying Oppenheimer, guess what? YouTube still knows this is a freaking video about Barbie because the algorithm looks at your transcript. It just looks at what you're talking about in the video. And you've probably, if you mumbled about Barbie for 20 minutes, then YouTube knows this is a Barbie video. It's not going to show it to people that search for Oppenheimer. No freaking way. Now, this means, okay, you obviously don't just need to optimize your title. In fact, that's not really where you should start optimizing, but you should start optimizing the video content. And now when you think about this, you can't just like a robot repeat the same phrases again and again just to rank on YouTube, right? If you do a video about how to rank on YouTube, for example, you're probably going to mention rank a couple of times, you're going to mention YouTube a couple of times. So YouTube kind of knows you're talking about how to rank on YouTube, right? And now all of this is true, but to be honest, it all doesn't freaking matter because the algorithm has completely different priorities. And there's also this intent myth, okay? So the algorithm priorities is what I already talked about. If you make a video about Barbie and it's titled Oppenheimer and so on, you know, YouTube knows this is a video about Barbie. So it doesn't really make sense that this narrative is being pushed that, you know, you need to optimize titles, thumbnails, tags, and so on. That's not what this game is about. If you want to optimize something, then yeah, you should think about what are a couple of keywords that you would like to, emphasize, rank on. But then from these keywords, come up with a couple of video ideas and just talk about that. YouTube is intelligent enough to figure out what you're talking about. And if the video is good enough, and we'll get to how to make it good enough, how to make YouTube discover it, if you apply these tricks on how to discover it, well, it will pop up, right? If someone searches for it. And you don't need to do all of this, this optimization stuff that people out there keep talking about. And then the second thing is a very big myth. Like, what do you think? This intent thing. Someone searches for a solution. Well, you might pop up, but there's a big problem there. Nobody buys from you, okay? If you just pop up for a certain keyword, for example, how to rank on YouTube, and now you're trying to sell me a course on how to rank on YouTube for $100, guess what? I'm not going to buy. Like, I just searched for how to rank on YouTube. Obviously, I want to get some free advice. Now, if you show up 20 more times or so, then yeah, at some point I might be very familiar with you. I might buy something from you. But just from this search, I'm definitely not going to buy. I'm going to buy if you show up repeatedly on my homepage and I'm like, oh, there's this guy again that I watched a video about, right? Let me give this video another chance. It actually sounds pretty interesting from the packaging, right? So let me watch that. And then next day I log in again and there's another video from you and I watch this one too, right? And this is how I build a connection with you. And this is just possible with browse-based traffic, okay? So browse-based traffic is how you capture the attention as opposed to serving the intent, which is a big myth. It does not work. Okay, you capture the attention. You have the possibility to get millions of views. You can have high view velocity, so you can be at 0 views at day 1 and you can be at 100,000 views day 2. If your video catches this momentum, you will go viral. Now, also what's important here is that making this video just 1% better in some cases could mean hundreds of thousands of more views, because the algorithm is so fine-tuned to little signals like the average view duration that just making this a couple of percentage points higher could mean the difference between getting a couple of hundred views and getting a couple of 100,000 views. Now, of course, there's less intent, but as we just established, intent is not all that important. It's much more important to show up repeatedly on your ideal customer's homepage. That's what you really want. This is how you build a strong connection and are able to sell them anything in the end. Now, millions of views obviously doesn't mean like you'll have millions of sales, right? But I would rather have like hundreds of thousands of views from the right people than just have hundreds of views from the right people. You agree? It's better to have thousands of views from the right people than just to have a couple of dozens of views from the right people. And in every case, the browse optimization is going to give you more views than the search-based path. Now, this is also harder, right? This is also harder because it requires top-tier packaging. It requires top-tier packaging, and it also requires you to have great content because you need to optimize for CTR and AVD. And for those of you who have no idea what that is, we'll jump into it super quickly. Super quick tutorial. CTR is how many people click. So you have the impressions. YouTube is showing your video to different people on the homepage, for example, right? And out of these people, just a certain percentage will click. In fact, probably it's a single-digit percentage, right? And once these people click, the impression turns into a view. And the number, this conversion rate from impression to view, is called the impressions click-through rate, or short CTR, right? So 100 people, 100 impressions, you have a CTR of 7.4%. Means 7 people watched your videos, you have 7 views. Now, AVD is how long people stay once they click, because you might just do clickbait, you might put some nice, whatever, some nice woman, great looking, or a super nice sports car that looks super futuristic, and people click, they're like, oh, wow, I haven't seen that. Let me click that. Now, in the video, you're talking about something completely different. Guess what? People turn off the video after a couple of seconds. So let's look at CTR, right? We established that this is what transforms impressions into views. What we have not established yet is that it's never absolute. Because the next question you might ask as a savvy business owner is, well, how can I act upon this KPI? What's a KPI worth if I can't act upon it, right? And the answer is, well, it depends, right? Because CTR is never absolute. I can't tell you that a CTR of 4% is good or bad. It might be good, it might be bad. It depends entirely on the situation. In fact, it depends on what niche you are in and what stage of this video, what maturity stage is this video, like how long before has it been uploaded, and so on, right? And what you can rather focus on is to look at how CTR develops. Okay, so has it been going down or up? And this will tell you, for example, that if CTR is relatively stable while you keep getting more and more views, that this thumbnail and title is actually pretty good. Now, if it slowly decreases, that's also quite normal, because as YouTube pushes your video out to a wider audience, not all people are going to be interested in this. At the beginning, it's just your core audience, so everybody wants to watch your stuff, right? So everybody clicks. CTR is extremely high. As it pushes this out to people who have never seen your face before, some of them might be like, okay, I don't give a damn, right? So that's something you can look at. If it really falls super quickly, then your thumbnail might just not be good enough. You might do a little bit of thumbnail A/B testing there. Let's look at AVD. AVD is when people click your video, how long do they stay, right? Now, even with mediocre packaging, sometimes AVD can help save your video. In this case, what you see on the left side is on one of our channels, we had extremely high AVD. So you see that because here we're way higher than the average line. The average line was somewhere around 6 minutes 40, right? And we were here somewhere in the middle, so probably 11 minutes or so, right? And then it even increased towards the end, like hovering around 13 minutes or so. Now, what happened with this video is it was a slow burner. So you see here, it was pretty average. Here it was even below average. And then suddenly it broke out. And why did it break out? Because AVD was so high. The click-through rate here was not phenomenal. The packaging was not phenomenal. But YouTube just saw, hey, like once people click this shitty looking thumbnail, they actually stay on it for a long time. So let me give this thing more impressions. Let me push it out. Let me see if I can figure out if I really got the right audience there, and test it until at, somewhere here, this must be day 80 or so, after 2.5 months, suddenly the video started gaining traction. So that's how important AVD is. And again, it's difficult to isolate CTR and AVD. So a video might have high CTR and high AVD, but still not perform well because there are so many other factors involved, right? So you need to always do a holistic analysis of the video and the channel analytics in order to draw some real conclusions. This is just one example where, CTR was quite high for our standards. Average view duration was very high, but this was an 8 out of 10, meaning it was a very bad video for us. And after 2 days, we just had 40,000 views, which is a disaster. Now, the comments here, if you would have read the comments, they were disastrous. People were like, this is the completely wrong opinion and we don't like this. And people essentially disagreed strongly with us. And what this led to is too many people also downvoting the video saying this is not nice, right? And for YouTube, this was a big red flag. They're like, okay, click-through rate is high. People watch this thing, but they're super unhappy with it. So maybe I should not show this to too many people, right? Now, for a long time, I created content for the sake of creating. It was always a passion. Since I was 15 years old, I've been creating content, but it was not profitable. And the solution to creating content that has the potential to go viral, and to be passion content where, it's actually fun for you to talk about these things, and creating content that's good for your business, so that you will turn content into cash flow, views into customers. The solution is the content to cash flow way, or the combination of search targeting and browse virality. And I think we came up with a pretty cool solution on how to combine these two. It requires very little time because all of you have no time, right? Same as me, I have no time. Limited creativity, because none of us are super crazy creative. We have to manage our business, right? And then some of us are creative, but we can put this creativity into a lot of other things. Probably not want to focus all of this on YouTube, but it gives you maximum bottom line results. First step, you think about your IVP. What's your IVP? It's your ideal viewer profile, right? It's not your ideal customer profile, it's your ideal viewer profile. And guess what? The overlap is pretty high, right? So what you should think about, and what we ask our content to cash flow members to think about, is when they create your YouTube master plan, which is something you should create at the beginning of your YouTube journey. Draw up a master plan of how you want to position yourself, who are your competitors, and how are you going to fit into your niche and differentiate yourself, right? So you need to have some kind of strategy going into YouTube. Otherwise, promised, you will waste your time, right? So what we ask people to do, and what I would also ask you to do, is to answer a couple of questions. Who is your typical customer in your business, right? What are parameters like age, location, gender, interests, needs, desires, problems, challenges? These all need to be written down. And now this is probably also pretty close to your ideal viewer profile. Because if these people have already been your customers, chances are that people who are similar to these people and who watch your YouTube videos, they will also eventually turn into customers. You also want to answer the question, what is your typical customer's primary and secondary goal? So the primary goal could, for example, be, I want to build a great YouTube channel, right, that generates lots of revenue for my business. The secondary goal might be, I just want to do that in less than 5 hours per week. I don't have any time, right? So that's an example of primary and secondary goal. Next, you want to look at what are your typical customers' complaints. So when you're on sales calls, when you are on support calls, or you talk to your support team, when you go back and forth with emails, when you have physical meetings trying to sell large deals to potential customers, what are the complaints? What are the problems that these people are facing? Okay, are they experiencing some inefficiencies? Are they tired of something? Do they not appreciate something, right? That's what you want to solve. And then next, you also want to look at your competitors on YouTube. So basically type in a bunch of keywords that are related to your business and see what's already happening out there. And that will give you a nice holistic view. Now, why is this important? Well, we'll find out in a second. Now, what you want to do is use an outlier-based methodology to come up with perfect video ideas that will need very little creativity in terms of refining the title, the thumbnail, or whatever, how to package it, how to talk about it. So what you can do, internally, what we use is this outlier database, which is constantly being updated with great outlier concepts, so packaging inspiration concepts. But what you want to do is you want to go onto YouTube and you want to look for so-called outliers. There's extensions like vidIQ, for example, that you can download for free, and this extension will enable you to filter for outliers. Outliers are videos that are getting significantly more views than the channel average. So for example, a channel has on average always 5,000 views on their videos, right? It's a small channel. Always the videos get like 3,000, 6,000, 4,000 views, something like that. And then suddenly one video gets 50,000 views, right? It's kind of a 10x outlier. What happened there? Right? These are the videos that you want to pay attention to, because chances are the video is extremely good and you can adapt something from this video to your own YouTube channel. Now, what you can do if you have a database like this, or if you don't have a database, you can just create it. It's not too hard. You need to be a little bit clever and knowledgeable about YouTube, but you can create a database of different outliers. And now I want you to look at all of these outliers and think about, how can I adapt this video to change the title as little as possible, change the thumbnail as little as possible, while making it about my topic? Okay. So for example, here, this guy made a video, give me 8 minutes and I'll improve your communication skills by 88%. So the title concept here is, give me some short amount of time and I will improve something significantly, right? Give me 7 minutes and I'll show you how to hack the YouTube algorithm. Something like this, right? And then you see the thumbnail is pretty simple. And that's actually the reason why it works. It's just a guy that looks more or less trustworthy in front of a whiteboard, right? And people are like, okay, it's like a no bullshit video. He's actually going to talk about exactly this. Even the whiteboard says speak like a pro, right? Now, next example, for example, we found this nice outlier video, the untold truth about, here it was, the untold truth of Anthony Bourdain with TV producer Tom blah blah blah, right? So this is a great outlier that has worked for us multiple times too. The untold truth about, and then something, some issue, some institution, some technique, right? So for example, if you have a sauna business, we have a sauna business owner as a customer, and he could do a video about the untold truth about saunas, about the difference between dry sauna, the untold truth about dry saunas, for example, right? This is going to attract clicks because people are like, okay, wow, like what's the thing about dry saunas, right? Now I need to know. So long story short, if you have access to this database because you're a content to cash flow member, well, you know about all of this, so you're probably not watching this video. If you don't have access, then take this as an inspiration, right? Just build a database like this and fill it with videos that can be adapted in a business context. You don't want to like fill it with videos that are outliers from like Mr. Beast or something, because his titles and thumbnails are just not comparable, you know, it's just too different. It's going to be very hard to adapt this to your niche, right? So it needs to be kind of the right outliers that you're putting into this database, and then you look at this database, and for each video you can come up with video ideas yourself. Now, the nice thing here about this strategy is that you will come up with completely finished titles and thumbnails that you can take and just start recording a video that's about whatever you came up with. You don't need to think about, okay, what's going to be the ideal title? What's like, how should I design the thumbnail, right? Or even worse, you start scripting some video because you think this is a great topic. And then you realize, okay, I have no clue how to actually come up with a great title and thumbnail for this video that I already scripted, which is the worst case. Like in this case, it's completely wrong way around, right? So this is an amazing strategy, and it works extremely well for everyone that we have done this with. Really helps you go viral. Now, if you want to now combine the best of both worlds, because that's what I promised, right? You want to have the browse traffic, but you also want to have the search traffic. Well, sign up for vidIQ, which is a completely free extension, although it has also has a premium version that I recommend. I think it's nice, and you can search for different keywords. Like, let's say you are a medical device sales company, which is also one of our customers. They do medical device sales. Now, you could search for medical device sales and see what are related keywords that generate a lot of interest on YouTube. Medical sales college, okay. Smith and Nephew, okay. This one, medical device sales, is kind of has an overall high score. So what that tells you is it's a green light. You can go ahead with this video. You can start doing a video about medical device sales, because it obviously also generates some organic search traffic. So even if this strategy does not work, which is very unlikely, okay, even if your outlier strategy, outlier-based packaging strategy does not yield the results you're looking for, you will still end up gaining long-term views from search traffic. What's probably going to happen, and what's happening with most of the people that apply this strategy, is that this strategy gives you very high velocity views. So it might lead to you over the first week or two getting a lot of views. You know, could be depending on what's your content. It could be thousands, it could be tens of thousands, could be hundreds of thousands even, right? And then this is what kind of keeps getting you views over the months and even years, right? And so you really, with this strategy, you really combine the best of both worlds. You have browse optimized and search optimized traffic. And that's just one of the things that we are using from our system that is completely superior. And we use that not only for our own channels, because we own a channel network. So we build channels ourselves, right? And we have skin in the game. Those are my channels. I need to make sure these channels are doing well. But we also use that obviously on our clients' channels. And so far, the results have been phenomenal. If you find that interesting, you'll find a link in the description below to get more information about content to cash flow.